Why do some people feel like they have to figure everything out, while others feel like they can't stop moving? These are two different types of pressure, and understanding the difference can change the way that you approach business, career, and your relationship with money.
Welcome to Frequency of Self, your go-to resource for the practical application of human design in life, business, and relationships. If you're ready to experience lasting transformation, hit subscribe.
Every piece of human design explains the mechanics with how you operate throughout this world. Pressure is one of those mechanics. Now, pressure isn't good or bad, it simply initiates movement. The head center creates a mental pressure to figure things out through inspiration and the intake of ideas, while the root center creates an adrenalized pressure for movement to take action and resolve. Both of these centers create pressure, but they do this in entirely different ways. Today, we're not just breaking down the mechanics, but instead we're going to show you how this applies to career, business, and your relationship with money. Part 1, the head and the root centers. The theme of the head center is inspiration. Now, this is because the head center is constantly taking in information, which creates a mental pressure to process everything that it's taking in. This processing leads to inspirational questions and ideas. The defined head center is going to find consistency in inspiration. Now, this means that often people with defined head centers are a little bit more comfortable with not knowing and waiting for that inspiration because they can really trust it's going to come through. Oftentimes, they have a very consistent way of receiving that inspiration that can be in the shower, on a walk, at the gym. It really depends on the person. The undefined head center is going to experience less consistency in this mental inspiration, which means it's going to create more of a mental pressure and the suffering or not aligned theme of this center, which is thinking about things that don't matter, asking the wrong questions. This happens because there is no trust that it's going to come through. The inspiration is not consistent. So it could be on a walk, in the shower, at the gym, but it's not necessarily the same every single time. And it creates a little bit of anxiety within many people with this undefined head center, which is about 70% of the population. So what we're talking about here is mental pressure. This is no drive to move. That's where we get to the root center. So the root center is adrenalized pressure. In human design, they talk about organ systems being associated with each of the centers, and the adrenal glands, which are our fight or flight hormone producing glands, are associated with the root center. The root center is moving into action, so it's one of 4 motor centers in human design. Meaning, when you have a defined root center, you have a little extra energy that mobilizes you into action to resolve whatever it is that's happening in your life. Those with a defined root center often feel a consistency and comfort with that adrenalized pressure. They have a set way of handling stress versus someone without a defined root center who is not going to have consistent access in how to manage that adrenalized pressure, which means they are often saying, one more thing and then I can rest, one more thing and then I can rest. So there's this constant need to be moving into action due to a lack of consistency of activation. The beautiful thing about human design is for each of these centers, there are questions that you can ask yourself to know if you are in the aligned or unaligned state when you have these open or undefined centers. So stick around because that's coming in part 3 of this video. Before we move on to the next section, I'd like to hear from you. Do you have a defined or undefined head or root center? And what is your experience with pressure, mental or adrenalized? Drop it in the comments below. Part 2, pressure, career, and money. We've already covered that the head center is about inspiration, so we need to apply this to the aligned and the unaligned expression of that head center in your business, your career, and your relationship with money. We will do this through examples of each. As is the point of this entire YouTube channel, the mechanics of human design make so much more sense when we can apply them to everyday life. For each center, we're going to talk about the aligned and the unaligned expression and how that might show up for your career, entrepreneurship, or your relationship with money. So let's start with career. In your career, the aligned expression may be asking thoughtful questions without worrying about solving everyone's problems around you or taking in and getting all the information before you can make a decision. The unaligned expression, it's exactly the opposite. Asking questions that don't matter or feeling like you have to get all the information and continue researching before you can take a step forward. Analysis paralysis, or I just need to learn one more thing and then I can move on. Now remember, when you have an undefined center, you are going to amplify those around you who have definition. That means greater mental pressure to figure things out. If you are in a work setting where you are around people who have that head definition, there may be greater pressure to think about things that don't matter, to ask questions that don't matter, because you are really trying to resolve whatever it is that you're working on. Keep that in mind when you're in the workplace. As an entrepreneur, the aligned expression might look like being able to brainstorm new products or services without feeling like you have to produce or launch every single one of them. Whereas the not self expression would be unable to launch anything or create anything new because every single idea that comes through feels like the next thing. Likely, your hard drive is full of unfinished courses, offers, or business plans. And for the relationship with money, the healthy expression of the undefined head center might look like seeing possibilities everywhere about how to make money without feeling like you need to pursue every single one of them. Whereas the unaligned might feel like seeing possibilities to make money everywhere and feeling like the way that you're doing it was wrong, so pursuing every single one of them, rather than sitting with your strategy and authority and figuring out which possibility and opportunity is the correct one for you. In all of these examples, the head center is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, generating ideas and possibilities, inspiring, creating a mental pressure to move forward. However, when we get stuck in the undefined theme, those possibilities lead to paralysis, preventing us from moving forward with the one idea that is actually aligned for us. So the head center keeps us from moving in the not self theme, while the root center keeps us moving in the not self theme. The root center is about the pressure to act, to get things done, to relieve stress. When aligned, the pressure is used to relieve stress appropriately. When not aligned, pressure is used to act in the now just to try to relieve the stress. The healthy expression of the undefined root center in career may be understanding a healthy sense of urgency versus unnecessary stress, allowing you to move forward with intention and meeting those deadlines. Whereas the unaligned root center may find itself rushing through projects or saying yes to more and more, just so it can get things done faster and be relieved of that pressure. When we talk about the root being undefined and we're talking about career and being in the workplace, remember, you will amplify the root centers of those around you, which simply means that external pressure may feel deeper and greater internally. For an entrepreneur, the healthy expression may be recognizing that not everything has to get done right now and not every response is immediate, allowing your practice or your business to grow at a sustainable pace. Whereas the unaligned may equate constant hustle and busyness with progress. Keeping yourself busy on focusing the things that don't matter instead of moving your business forward with the things that do. And for relationship with money, the aligned root center, this may look like recognizing that building wealth takes consistency and a financial plan, which means not letting temporary financial pressures dictate decision. And for the unaligned expression of the root center, this may look like believing that every financial problem requires immediate attention, keeping you from being able to slow down, strategize, prioritize, and respond wisely. As with the head center, the root center is doing what it's supposed to be doing, creating a pressure to relieve stress for movement forward. The not self pattern is mistaking all pressure for urgency, rather than being able to take a step back, rest, and feel what's truly aligned. If any of these sound like you are in the right place. Amanda and I have created the Frequency Collective, a deep dive into all of these topics through the human design lens and language, where we help you with your career, health, and life. If this sounds interesting to you, you can find our link in the description below. Part 3, Practical Application. So now we know about the head center, the root center, the pressure centers in human design. What do we do when we're stuck in the not self? This is my favorite part to talk about, the deconditioning process. Step 1, locate the center on your chart and figure out if it's defined or undefined. If it's defined, it has color. If it's undefined, it is white. Step 2, ask yourself the reflective question that is specific to each center. The head center's question or questions are, am I thinking about things that don't matter? Am I trying to find consistency instead of waiting for things to come to me? Am I trying to solve other people's questions? For the root center, the questions are, am I in a hurry to get things done to be free of pressure? Am I allowing the pressure of the outside world to run my life? Am I initiating things simply to relieve pressure? Now, if you have both defined head and root, these questions are not your questions. Stay tuned because this will be a 5-part series and we're going to walk through each of these centers and the undefined questions. If you have just an undefined head center, sit with the undefined head center questions. If you have just an undefined root center, sit with those questions. If you have both, sit with all of the questions for both centers. And when I say sit with, I mean read the question, close your eyes, feel it in your body. Do you notice anything showing up? Does it feel like there's a resonance with that question? Oh, I do feel like I do this. When you find your question, sit back and notice it in your body. Now I'm going to close my eyes because this is how I practice and I will show you exactly what I do and what I do with my clients. And now I have a defined root and an undefined head. So I use the questions of the head. Am I thinking about things that don't matter? So I sit with it and I just notice that I feel that my solar plexus area around my back, just a little bit of tension. And I feel that moving up through my neck and my shoulders. So I'm just going to sit and breathe in through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. Just allowing whatever comes up to come up and just sitting, breathing. All the things I think about that don't matter, feeling the pressure in my body. Can I let this go? Not forever, in this moment. Can I let this go? Yeah. I notice it move through my body and I feel where it moves. So just when you're doing this, feel it move through your body. If it releases, laughing, coughing, yawning, sneezing, crying is all the body's way of releasing. Don't judge it, just allow it. Whatever comes up on the breath in, let it grow as big as it needs to, and on the breath out, give your body permission to release it. These questions are core questions that will help you sit in the present moment when you're feeling that adrenalized pressure to act now, where you can't quiet the mind. When you can be in the now, in the present, release the stress response, you can hear your strategy and authority and allow yourself to move in the direction that feels most aligned. But when we are in these unaligned states, we cannot hear the strategy and authority properly. This is part of the deconditioning process. This is part of what moves us forward. So as I mentioned before, this is part of a 5-part series where we move through each of the centers, their aligned and unaligned expressions, the mechanics behind them, as well as how this pertains to your career, your business, or your relationship with money. So please keep watching. You've made it all the way to the end, so please drop a breathe emoji so I know that you're here. And because you made it, please like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to explore more human design in depth and the practical application, please check out the link to our frequency collective in the description below. And if you'd like to learn more about the centers in general, please download our 9 centers guide in the description below. And if you want to continue the journey through these centers, check out this video next.